Samantha Hayes had never imagined she'd be standing in a high-rise office overlooking the city, staring at the man who had ruined her last 3 dates with a single smug smile. "Marry me," he said, voice calm, eyes sharp, as if stating facts rather than making a request. Samantha blinked. "Excuse me." Ethan Carter, 29, billionaire tech entrepreneur, didn't flinch. "Marry me, for 1 year, no love required, just a marriage of convenience." Her laugh came out sharp, bitter. "Are you serious? You come into my life, throw this ridiculous offer, and expect me to say yes?" "I expect you to think about it," he said, sliding a contract across the polished oak desk. Samantha stared. Her life had been one string of chaos lately. Her rent doubled, her promotion denied, and now she was juggling her career as a marketing executive with late-night freelance gigs to keep her apartment afloat. The last thing she needed was a stranger offering her a legal contract in place of a romantic relationship. "And why would I do this?" she asked, skeptical. Ethan leaned back, folding his hands over his chest. "Because if you refuse, my family's foundation loses a key tax exemption. And if you accept, you get a 6-figure contract, a luxurious apartment, and immunity from my mother's endless matchmaking attempts." She stared, realizing for the first time that this wasn't about love. It was about survival, for both of them. Samantha weighed her options. 1 year, no love required, financial stability, shelter, maybe even peace of mind. Her phone buzzed. A reminder from her landlord. Last day to pay overdue rent or vacate immediately. She glanced at Ethan. 1 year, fine, but don't think for a second that I'm going to fall for you. Ethan's smirk widened. "I don't plan to. I just plan to survive the year together." Little did Samantha know, that single decision would start a chain of events that would change her life and her heart forever. As she signed the contract, the city skyline glittered behind them, oblivious to the emotional storm about to descend. Because in a world built on money, power, and convenience, they were about to discover something they never expected: family. Make sure to like and subscribe to watch more stories in our channel page. The elevator doors opened to the 38th floor, and Samantha's jaw dropped. The penthouse was more than she'd expected. Floor-to-ceiling windows framed the skyline like a movie scene. Modern art adorned the walls, and the air smelled faintly of fresh linen and citrus. This is all mine?" she asked, half distrustful, half in awe. Ethan didn't answer immediately. He simply set her suitcase down and gestured toward the living room. "It's yours for the next year, but consider it shared space in terms of rules. You follow them and this place works for both of us." Samantha arched a brow. "Rules?" "Yes," Ethan said, calmly yet firmly. "No personal drama in public, no oversharing on social media, and most importantly, respect boundaries. I respect yours if you respect mine." She rolled her eyes but didn't protest. After all, boundaries sounded like exactly what she needed in a life that had lately felt like chaos incarnate. Over the next few days, the penthouse became a delicate dance of coexistence. Samantha tried to assert her independence, cooking her meals in the gleaming kitchen, claiming corners of the sofa, decorating her side of the bedroom. But Ethan had a quiet, steady presence that made her pulse race whether she admitted it or not. He left notes on the fridge. "Milk expires tomorrow. Don't drink alone." He fixed the broken shower head without asking. He even learned her coffee order after just 3 mornings. Samantha tried not to notice how his presence filled the apartment, how his hand brushed hers casually in the kitchen, how his laughter, low, controlled, unexpectedly warm, made her heart skip. One evening, they were sitting across from each other, eating takeout on the living room floor because neither had unpacked the fancy dining set. "So," Samantha said, trying to keep her tone casual, "how do you survive being this intimidating all the time?" Ethan smirked, fork in hand. "Intimidating me? I think you mean fascinating." Samantha choked on a fry. "Fascinating? That's not what I..." He leaned back, arms behind his head, eyes locking with hers. "Samantha, this isn't about falling in love. It's about surviving a year without killing each other." She couldn't stop the laugh that slipped out, sharp, genuine, and for a fleeting second the tension between them softened. But the soft moment didn't last long. That same night, Samantha found a letter slipped under her bedroom door. She hesitated, then opened it. "Samantha, I know this arrangement isn't easy. Neither is life. But remember, trust doesn't come from convenience. It comes from actions. Watch mine carefully. E." Her chest tightened. She didn't know whether to be annoyed or strangely moved. Ethan's presence, which she had planned to resist, was becoming something she couldn't ignore. A week later, the first storm hit, literally and figuratively. A sudden downpour flooded the city streets, trapping them in the penthouse. Ethan refused to let her go out to retrieve groceries, insisting he'd handle it. Samantha reluctantly agreed, but watched him carefully as he navigated the storm outside on the balcony, securing the balcony furniture, tightening window locks, even checking the fire escape. The vulnerability in his eyes just for a second before the mask returned left her heart fluttering unexpectedly. She realized something. Beneath the billionaire exterior, there was a man capable of care, genuine care, for someone other than himself. By the third day, their routines were almost natural. Samantha cooked breakfast. Ethan made coffee. They laughed at awkward small talk, watched late-night movies, and occasionally Samantha caught him starring, not leering, not impatiently, but thoughtfully, as if he were trying to understand her entirely in silence. Then came the first real emotional test. Samantha received a call from her younger sister, Lucy, who was struggling financially. Samantha's instincts screamed to help, but the timing meant asking Ethan for the penthouse's funds to cover it. "Ethan," she hesitated, "I need your help. It's my sister. She's in trouble." He didn't flinch. "How much?" The relief she felt was instantaneous. For the first time, the contract felt less like a chain and more like a shield, enough to get her through the month and maybe rent a small studio apartment. He nodded, didn't question her, didn't lecture. He simply processed the request and approved it. Samantha realized she didn't just respect him. She was beginning to rely on him emotionally, mentally, maybe even more. That night, she watched Ethan from across the living room as he worked on his laptop. He looked calm, collected, powerful, but she saw fatigue in the subtle slump of his shoulders, the way he rubbed his temple absent-mindedly. Her heart ached. Without thinking, she brought him a mug of chamomile tea. "You need a break," she said softly. He looked up, surprised. Then, just for a heartbeat, his usual composed demeanor faltered. He accepted the tea, eyes lingering on hers longer than necessary. Samantha's pulse raced. The contract they had signed was supposed to be cold, legal, devoid of emotion, but the walls were starting to crumble. The inconvenient truth was undeniable. Their lives were intertwining in ways neither of them could have anticipated. And Samantha knew one thing for certain. Surviving a year of convenience was about to become far more complicated because hearts, unlike contracts, didn't follow rules. The morning sunlight peeked through the blinds, casting soft golden lines across the penthouse. Samantha sat on the edge of the bed, gripping a small plastic stick with trembling hands. 2 lines. Bright. Clear. Her heart pounded, and for a moment, time stopped. This couldn't be real. She wasn't supposed to have feelings for Ethan. This was a contract, a convenience, a temporary arrangement, and yet here was proof that life had a way of complicating things. "Ethan," she whispered, almost afraid to wake him. He stirred from sleep, hair mussed, eyes opening slowly. "What is it?" She held up the test. I think I'm pregnant." The room went silent. Ethan sat up fully, expression unreadable. For a heartbeat, fear and confusion flickered in his eyes. But then, as if switching to automatic, his protective instinct surged. "Okay," he said calmly, voice steady. "We'll figure this out together." Samantha's chest tightened. "Together? Ethan, this wasn't supposed to happen. It's complicated. My career, your life, the contract." "I don't care about the contract right now," he interrupted gently, taking her hand in his. "I care about you, and if this is real about this baby, we'll handle everything step by step. No drama, no fear, just solutions." Tears pricked her eyes. She hadn't expected him to respond like this. Not the businessman, the cold, calculated Ethan Carter, but here he was, present, focused, unwavering. The days that followed were a whirlwind of emotions and practicalities. Samantha struggled to balance her work with the new reality. She had moments of panic, questions racing through her mind about the baby, her future, her feelings for Ethan. Ethan, for his part, adapted quickly. He accompanied her to doctor visits, learned about prenatal care, and even set up a small nursery corner in the penthouse. The tenderness he showed, the quiet way he put her comfort above his own, left Samantha simultaneously stunned and oddly safe. One rainy evening, as Samantha rested on the sofa, Ethan approached with a blanket and 2 mugs of hot chocolate. He sat beside her, draping the blanket over their shoulders. "You know," he said softly, "I didn't plan on this either, but sometimes life doesn't follow plans, and sometimes that's okay." Samantha leaned into him, letting her head rest on his shoulder. "I'm scared," she admitted. "I don't know if I can do this." "You're not alone," Ethan said, pressing a gentle kiss to her temple. "We'll learn together, and trust me, you're stronger than you think." That night, Samantha realized something important. The lines between contract and heart, between convenience and connection, were blurring faster than she could resist. Ethan wasn't just a temporary partner anymore. He was becoming someone she relied on, someone who made her feel protected, understood, and loved in a way she hadn't thought possible. By the end of the week, the news of the pregnancy had to be shared with families, friends, and even a few nosy colleagues. Samantha dreaded the reactions, but Ethan's calm presence grounded her. Together, they faced questions, whispers, and judgment without faltering. Through it all, a new rhythm emerged. Breakfast shared in laughter, late-night planning for the baby, small touches that conveyed care, gentle teasing, quiet reassurances. The contract that once symbolized cold, transactional survival was evolving, becoming something warmer, something unspoken yet undeniable. The start of a family. Samantha realized that life was unpredictable, love was inconvenient, and yet, sometimes, the things you didn't plan for turned out to be exactly what you needed. And as she watched Ethan reading a book aloud to the small stuffed animals she'd arranged for the nursery corner, a pang of unexpected warmth hit her. She was beginning to imagine a future she had never allowed herself to hope for, a future where they weren't just coexisting, but truly connected, because surviving a year together was no longer just about convenience. It was about trust, care, and discovering that love could grow where contracts had once ruled. The city was buzzing with energy, but inside the penthouse, Samantha felt a heavy tension pressing down. The peaceful rhythm she had begun to enjoy was suddenly under siege. It started subtly, a cryptic text from a former coworker. "Heard the news. How's the married life treating you? People are talking." Samantha's heart sank. Gossip had a way of spreading faster than truth, and now it threatened not just her privacy but the fragile bond she was building with Ethan. "Ethan," she murmured, sliding her phone across the kitchen counter. "Someone's already spreading rumors about us." He took the phone, reading the message with narrowed eyes. "They'll try," he said quietly, setting it down. "But rumors are powerless if we stay calm and handle things together." Before Samantha could respond, the penthouse intercom buzzed. It was an unexpected visitor, Clara, Ethan's ex-business partner and former flame, whose charm and ambition had once captivated him. She smiled warmly, but Samantha felt a prickle of unease. "Ethan, I wanted to congratulate you and Samantha," Clara said, extending a hand to Samantha, her eyes sharp beneath the friendly facade. "This is unexpected but exciting." Samantha forced a polite smile, though her stomach churned. Ethan, calm as ever, took Clara's hand and shook it briefly. "Thank you, it's a new chapter." But Samantha could see the spark in Clara's eyes, the challenge, the testing of boundaries. And though Ethan remained composed, Samantha felt a pang of jealousy, the first real crack in her self-control. The next day, the media caught wind of Samantha and Ethan's unusual arrangement. Headlines blared, "Billionaire marries marketing executive in one-year contract. Love or strategy?" Social media exploded. Every comment seemed designed to question Samantha's integrity, Ethan's intentions, and the very legitimacy of their growing family. Samantha sat on the sofa, wrapping a blanket tightly around herself. I can't deal with this," she admitted, tears pricking her eyes. Ethan knelt before her, taking both her hands in his. "Yes, you can," he said firmly, "because I'm not going anywhere. This is our life, our family, and I'll handle the noise. You focus on us, on the baby, on what matters." His confidence, his unwavering presence, did something to her heart. Samantha felt the walls she had built around her emotions begin to crumble again, not from fear, but from trust. That evening, they faced another challenge, a surprise visit from Samantha's sister, Lucy, who had gotten herself into a difficult situation with her landlord and bills piling up. Samantha wanted to help, but feared straining Ethan's patience. "I can handle it," Ethan said when Samantha hesitated. He opened his wallet not for money, but for solutions, contacts, favors, and strategic guidance to stabilize Lucy's situation quickly. Samantha watched him navigate the problem, marveling at his efficiency, his thoughtfulness, and the way he genuinely cared without ever making her feel indebted. Late that night, after the chaos had subsided, Samantha and Ethan sat together on the balcony, city lights reflecting in the dark water of the river below. "You make all of this bearable," Samantha whispered. "Even the gossip, the challenges, the people who don't understand us." Ethan wrapped an arm around her shoulder, pulling her close. "That's what family does. We face storms together, and whether anyone else sees it or not, we're building something real, something stronger than rumors or contracts." Samantha rested her head against his chest, listening to the steady rhythm of his heartbeat. In that moment, she realized the truth. Love didn't need permission, family didn't need validation, and she was beginning to understand that her heart, which had tried so hard to stay detached, had no choice but to surrender to the bond forming between them. The city outside continued its relentless pulse, but for Samantha and Ethan, the storm had found a calm center in each other. And as they held onto one another, they knew the trials weren't over. Jealous exes, social scrutiny, and the pressures of impending parenthood still loomed, but so did something stronger: trust, courage, and the undeniable pull of hearts beginning to intertwine. The morning sun hit the penthouse in streaks of gold, cutting through the tension Samantha hadn't yet voiced. The peaceful bubble they had carefully maintained was beginning to fray, not from outside pressures, but from the quiet doubts lurking between them. Samantha sat at the kitchen island, coffee untouched, staring at the city below. The previous night's arguments, tiny, almost imperceptible disagreements, kept replaying in her mind. Was she overreacting? Was Ethan frustrated with her? And more importantly, did he truly see her as more than a temporary contract? Ethan entered, casual yet deliberate, carrying a briefcase in one hand and a folder in the other. His gaze softened when it fell on her. "Morning. You didn't sleep well," he observed. Samantha shook her head, biting her lip. I just feel everything is moving too fast. This, us, the baby, I'm scared, Ethan." He pulled up a chair, setting the folder down. "I know, and I should have seen it. I'm sorry if my focus on solutions, on fixing things, made you feel alone." Tears blurred her vision. "I'm scared you'll change your mind, that one day you'll say, this was just convenience and you don't want it anymore." Ethan reached across the table, taking her hand in his. "Samantha, listen, you think this was easy for me. My life has been built on logic, contracts, and outcomes. But you've shown me what it means to care beyond strategy. I haven't changed my mind. I'm here, for you, for the baby, always." The honesty in his voice, unfiltered and raw, made Samantha's heart tremble. For the first time, she allowed herself to imagine a life where fear didn't dictate her every decision. That afternoon, a new challenge arose, media attention at an all-time high. Paparazzi had discovered their favorite brunch spot. Flashbulbs, shouted questions, the sharp scent of chaos. Samantha felt the old panic clawing back. "I can't do this," she muttered, ducking into a corner booth. Ethan appeared at her side, calm, collected, almost untouchable amid the storm of lenses and questions. He draped a jacket over her shoulders, shielding her from both cameras and the harsh cold. "Then don't. I'll handle it. You stay safe." Her breath caught. Protection wasn't just physical, it was emotional, unwavering, and it made her pulse race in ways she hadn't anticipated. That evening, after they returned to the penthouse, Ethan sat on the sofa, waiting. Samantha hesitated before joining him, unsure if this next conversation would shift everything. "You feel the cracks," he began softly. "I do too, and that's okay. What matters is how we face them together." Samantha nodded, emotions threatening to spill over. I want to know you're not here because of the contract, Ethan. I need to know you actually want this." He pulled her into a gentle hug, their foreheads touching. "Samantha, the contract brought us together, but what keeps me here is you. Always has been, always will be." The words wrapped around her like warmth on a cold day. In that moment, the penthouse felt less like a luxurious prison and more like a sanctuary, a place where trust, vulnerability, and emerging love intertwine. Later that night, Samantha set up the small nursery corner, arranging tiny clothes and soft toys with meticulous care. Ethan entered quietly, watching her work. "You've thought of everything," he whispered. "Just don't forget we'll do this together, every step." She smiled, brushing a strand of hair from her face. "I know, I want to be ready for both of us." Ethan knelt, taking a tiny baby onesie in his hands, examining it with an almost childlike awe. "We will be. Yumi, our baby. Family isn't built in a day. It's built in moments like this, in trust, care, and love, even when we're scared. And as Samantha looked at him, vulnerability and strength intertwined in his gaze, she realized something profound. The contract may have started it, but love, commitment, and the unshakable bond of family were already in motion. Because even in a life designed for convenience, hearts had a way of breaking rules, and sometimes that was the best thing that could happen. The weekend had started peacefully, the penthouse bathed in soft morning light, but tranquility is often fleeting. Samantha's phone buzzed relentlessly, texts, missed calls, emails, all bearing the same urgent theme. Her father had been hospitalized after a sudden heart attack. Fear and panic gripped her chest. "Ethan, my dad, he's in the hospital," she whispered, her voice trembling. Without hesitation, Ethan grabbed her hand. "We leave now, I'll drive." The ride to the hospital was tense but quiet. Samantha's hand shook as she clutched the seatbelt, Ethan's calm presence grounding her without a word. They arrived to find the emergency room bustling with activity, doctors moving with precise urgency. Her father, John Hayes, lay pale and frail, tubes and monitors surrounding him. Samantha felt her knees weaken. Ethan gently guided her to a chair. "You stay strong. I'll be here every step," he said quietly, his hand brushing hers, a reminder she wasn't alone. The hours dragged on, and Samantha felt a helpless rage at the randomness of life. Ethan never left her side, ordering food, sitting with her in silence, holding her hand when her anxiety peaked. His steadiness was her anchor. Finally, the doctor approached, wearing the faint relief of success. "Mr. Hayes is stable. He'll need rest and care, but he's going to make it." Samantha exhaled in a shuddering mix of relief and exhaustion. Tears streamed down her face. "Thank you. I don't even know how I managed without you here." Ethan pulled her into a tight embrace. "You never have to manage alone." In the days that followed, Samantha stayed by her father's side, juggling hospital visits with work commitments. Ethan coordinated from afar, arranging for additional care, adjusting schedules, and even cooking meals for her when she returned home, exhausted and emotionally drained. During one quiet evening in the hospital waiting room, Samantha's father opened his eyes, weak but smiling. "Samantha, you've grown so much," he murmured. "And is this him?" His gaze flicked to Ethan, whose presence was calm, unassuming, yet protective. Ethan bowed slightly. "Yes, sir. I'm here to support both of you, whatever you need." John Hayes' eyes softened. "I trust you with her heart." Samantha felt a wave of emotion wash over her. This man, this billionaire she had married for convenience, was proving every day that family wasn't about blood or contracts. It was about loyalty, care, and love that acted, not just spoke. Back at the penthouse, the two of them unpacked the day's stress in quiet conversation. Samantha perched on the sofa, Ethan at her side, sharing warmth, presence, and the kind of small gestures that mattered most. Brushing stray hair from her face, offering tea just the way she liked it, making her laugh after long hours of worry. "You were amazing today," she said softly. "I don't know what I would have done without you." He shook his head, smile subtle but real. "You were amazing, I just helped you see it." And for the first time, Samantha realized that the line between contract and heart had blurred entirely. Convenience had introduced them, but crisis, care, and unwavering support were weaving the threads of something far deeper. By the end of the week, her father was home, recovering, and Samantha had learned to rely not only on Ethan's resources, but also on his presence, emotional, unwavering, and transformative. She looked at him one evening, watching him read quietly in the nursery corner she had set up. The baby's tiny clothes hung neatly, and soft toys lined the shelves. "I never imagined a marriage like this, a family like this," she murmured. Ethan's gaze met hers, steady and warm. "Neither did I, but sometimes the things we don't plan turn out to be exactly what we need." In that moment, Samantha understood a truth that would guide them through every challenge to come. Family isn't built by contracts, convenience, or circumstance. It's built in moments of love, courage, and devotion that refuse to be broken. And with Ethan by her side, she felt ready to face whatever life would throw at them next. Like and subscribe. The city skyline glittered under a late afternoon sun, but inside the penthouse, Samantha felt a growing tension she couldn't shake. The calm they had fought so hard to build was being threatened from all sides. Public scrutiny, family expectations, and business crises converging at once. It began with a barrage of messages on her phone. Social media posts speculated about Ethan's past relationships, rumors about the pregnancy, and even the authenticity of their marriage. Samantha felt her chest tight. "How does he stay so calm?" she muttered, glancing at Ethan, who was reviewing contracts with the same calm, meticulous focus he always had. "Ignore it," Ethan said without looking up, his voice steady but firm. "None of it matters unless we let it." But when the doorbell rang unexpectedly, Samantha's nerves frayed further. Standing in the doorway was Vanessa, Ethan's estranged sister, a woman known for her fiery temper and sharp tongue. Her eyes swept over Samantha with calculated judgment. "Samantha," Vanessa said, her tone layered with curiosity and skepticism. "Congratulations, I suppose, on the arrangement, but are you ready for what this really means?" Samantha bristled, but Ethan stepped forward, protective yet composed. "Vanessa, this isn't a discussion about judgment. Samantha is part of this family now, and we'll figure this together." Vanessa's gaze softened slightly, but the unspoken tension lingered. "Family," she repeated, almost a challenge. The following day brought a business crisis. One of Ethan's startups faced a hostile takeover attempt, threatening not just his empire but the stability of their life together. Ethan spent long hours in strategy meetings, calls extending deep into the night. Samantha understood the stakes, but worry gnawed at her. How could they maintain their fragile bond when everything around them demanded their attention? One evening, Samantha found him on the balcony, phone pressed to his ear, jaw tight, eyes stormy beneath the city lights. She approached slowly. "Ethan, you've been at this for hours," she said softly, leaning on the railing beside him. "I know," he admitted, lowering the phone, "but this affects us, our family. I can't let it fail." Samantha's heart ached seeing him like this. She reached out, placing her hand over his. "Then let me help you. Let me be here for you, like you've been here for me." Ethan's eyes softened, and for the first time in days he allowed himself a deep exhale. "You don't know how much that means," he murmured, brushing a strand of her hair behind her ear. The week escalated further when an anonymous message appeared, threatening to leak private information about Samantha's pregnancy and personal life. Panic flared in her chest, but Ethan's presence remained her anchor. "We face it together," he said quietly, holding her hands in both of his. "Whatever comes, we protect our family first. Everything else is noise." That night they sat on the sofa, baby blanket draped over their laps, and Samantha realized the truth she had been trying to resist. Life wasn't slowing down. It was testing them, pushing them, forcing them to confront vulnerabilities they had hidden even from each other. Yet through it all, Ethan never wavered. He shielded, guided, and reassured, not just with words but with actions. Samantha, in turn, discovered a courage she hadn't known existed, standing beside him, sharing the burdens and finding strength in their partnership. By the end of the week, the storm outside and the crises inside the penthouse had not broken them. They had forged them stronger. Every whispered reassurance, every small gesture, every shared glance had transformed convenience into commitment, fear into trust, and arrangement into family. As Samantha watched Ethan reading bedtime stories aloud to the tiny stuffed animals in their nursery corner, she felt a profound shift. This wasn't just a marriage of convenience anymore. It was real, it was messy, it was beautiful, and it was theirs. Samantha's hands rested over her growing belly as she walked slowly across the penthouse living room, feeling the subtle, fluttering movements of the baby. It was the first time she had truly felt a connection beyond the contract, beyond the convenience, beyond even the love that had begun to grow between her and Ethan. But that evening the joy was shadowed by fear. A sharp pain shot through her side during dinner and she doubled over, gasping. Panic clawed at her chest. "Ethan, something's wrong," she whispered, her voice trembling. He was instantly by her side, scooping her into his arms. "We're going to the hospital, now." His calm determination masked the fear he refused to show. At the hospital, doctors monitored her closely. The minutes stretched like hours as Samantha clutched Ethan's hand, grateful for the grip that tethered her to calm amidst the storm. Finally, the doctor returned, a smile softening his usually serious face. "False alarm," he said. "Baby's fine, you're fine, just some muscle strain." Relief flooded Samantha, and she sank into Ethan's arms, crying from exhaustion, fear, and overwhelming gratitude. "I don't know what I'd do without you," she whispered. "You'll never have to find out," he replied, pressing a gentle kiss to her temple. "We face everything together, that's the promise." The next days were a mixture of recovery, cautious walks, and growing anticipation. Samantha began to feel the baby move more distinctly, each kick a tiny, miraculous confirmation of life and love. Ethan, ever attentive, placed his hand over her stomach whenever she mentioned a movement. "You feel that?" he asked softly, eyes lighting up with awe. "Our little one saying hello." Samantha laughed through tears, leaning into his warmth. "It's incredible and terrifying." "It's ours," Ethan murmured, voice barely audible. "Every kick, every heartbeat ours. And I'll protect both of you no matter what." That night they stayed up together, talking quietly about dreams, fears, and hopes for their child. Ethan confessed the rare vulnerabilities he rarely showed anyone. "I was afraid," he admitted. "Afraid I wouldn't be enough. Afraid I'd fail you, fail us." Samantha reached for his face, cradling it in her hands. "Ethan, look at me. You've been more than enough from the start. You've been my rock, my partner, my family." For the first time, Ethan allowed a small, unguarded smile, the tension around his eyes softening. In that quiet moment, the penthouse transformed from a luxurious backdrop into a sanctuary, a home built not on contracts or convenience, but on shared courage, trust, and the nascent love of a growing family. The following week brought small joys. Picking out baby clothes together, setting up the crib, reading parenting books side by side. Every shared moment deepened their bond, teaching Samantha that family wasn't something you only found. It was something you built, moment by moment, with patience, trust, and care. And as Ethan held her hand over her belly, whispering to the baby about their future, Samantha realized something profound. The life they had begun for convenience had evolved into a love she couldn't imagine living without. A family that had been a possibility was now real, messy, beautiful, and theirs. Because sometimes the greatest miracles weren't the ones planned. They were the ones that arrived unexpectedly, shaking your world and leaving love in their wake. It was a rainy Thursday evening, and the penthouse felt unusually silent. Samantha sat on the sofa, staring at the tiny pair of baby shoes she had placed on the coffee table. The past weeks had been filled with joy, anticipation, and shared vulnerability. But tonight, a lingering tension threatened to unravel everything. Ethan entered the room, briefcase in hand, exhaustion evident on his sharp features. "Long day?" she asked softly. He sighed, running a hand through his hair. "Business complications. Nothing I can't handle, but it's been draining." Samantha hesitated, unsure if this was the right moment to voice the fears that had been festering inside her. "Ethan, can we talk?" He set the briefcase down, giving her his full attention. "Always." Her voice wavered. I feel like sometimes, no matter how much we try, I'm just a part of your life when it's convenient. The baby, me, are we really a priority or just another responsibility?" Ethan's jaw tightened, and for a moment the confident, composed billionaire seemed vulnerable, almost unsteady. He took a deep breath. "Samantha, I swear to you, you and this baby are my priority, always. But I see how my silence, my focus on solving everything can make you feel second. I'm sorry." Tears brimmed in Samantha's eyes. "It's not just that. I'm scared. I love you, Ethan, and I can't imagine losing you. But what if us, doesn't survive all the pressures?" He pulled her into a firm, reassuring embrace. "Listen to me. This marriage started as a contract of convenience, but everything else, the fear, the love, the family we're building, that's real. And no rumor, no stress, no external pressure can change it. I'm here, I'm staying, and I'll fight for us every single day." Her tears spilled freely, and he held her tighter, whispering words that both comforted and grounded her. "Family isn't about perfection. It's about staying together through everything. That's what we're doing." The rain pounded against the windows, a chaotic rhythm outside that mirrored the storm of emotions they had just navigated. But inside, there was a growing calm. They had faced doubt, fear, and vulnerability, and survived. The next days were transformative. Samantha noticed the subtle shifts. Ethan leaving her coffee just the way she liked it, texting her during busy meetings to ask if she needed anything, reading articles on prenatal care to discuss at dinner. Each gesture reaffirmed his commitment. One evening, Samantha set up a small reading nook in the nursery, the soft glow of a lamp illuminating the tiny crib. Ethan sat beside her, holding her hand over her belly as the baby kicked softly. "I think they know we're ready," Ethan whispered, voice soft, awestruck. Ready to love, ready to protect, ready to be a family. Samantha smiled, resting her head on his shoulder. We're not perfect, but we're ours, and that's enough. For the first time, both of them understood. Love and family weren't just about promises. They were about action, presence, and unwavering support. They had faced their first major test together and had emerged stronger, more connected, more certain that this inconvenient marriage had become the most intentional, most beautiful part of their lives. And as they sat in the nursery, bathed in the warm glow of the lamp and the soft patter of rain outside, Samantha realized that the bond between them was unshakable. A contract had started it, fear had tested it, but love, commitment, and courage had made it a family. The penthouse was quiet that evening, bathed in the soft amber glow of city lights. Samantha sat in the nursery, gently rocking the baby in her arms, while Ethan stood nearby, watching them both with a mixture of awe and reverence. The year of contracts, fears, and challenges had led them here, to a moment of pure, unfiltered love. Samantha looked up at Ethan, her eyes glistening. I can't believe we're here, that all of this is real. Ethan knelt beside her, brushing a strand of hair from her face. Neither did I, but every step, every trial, every late-night worry, it brought us closer. And now look at us, a family, ours. The baby stirred, tiny fingers curling around Samantha's hand. Ethan's expression softened as he lifted his own hand to rest gently atop hers. We made it, he whispered. Through fear, rumors, stress, even doubts, we made it together. Samantha smiled, resting her head on his shoulder. We weren't perfect, but we never gave up. That's what matters. In the following days, they faced the final public tests, social scrutiny, and curious colleagues. But each challenge now felt small compared to the bond they had nurtured. Hand in hand, they navigated the world with confidence, knowing their love and family were unshakable. One evening, as the city glittered below them, Samantha and Ethan sat on the balcony, the baby asleep between them. Ethan took a deep breath. You know, a year ago, this was all just an arrangement, a contract. And now, Samantha said softly, it's everything, our life. Our love, our family, and I wouldn't trade it for anything. Ethan smiled, pressing a gentle kiss to her temple. We grew together, even when life tested us. And I promise, no matter what comes next, I'll always protect what we've built. Always. The two of them shared a quiet, lingering moment, proof that true connection isn't built on convenience, but on trust, courage, and unwavering care. Their journey had begun as a contract, but it had blossomed into something infinitely richer. A real, lasting family. Samantha turned slightly, addressing the audience with a warm smile. Thank you for witnessing our journey. If you loved this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more emotional storytelling that keeps your heart racing. Ethan nodded, holding the baby gently. Every like, every share helps these stories reach more hearts. We're grateful you joined us. Here, to love, family, and the unexpected turns that make life unforgettable. As they embraced under the soft city lights, the lesson lingered. Even a life that begins in convenience can grow into love, and trust, courage, and family will always prevail. Watch more adult stories in our channel page.